Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is set to meet President Biden for his first White House visit on Monday.
Officials here in Manila say there are two key things President Marcos wants to address. The first is trade, deepening economic cooperation, and the second is defense.
The Biden administration says the bilateral meeting will reaffirm the U.S.'s ironclad commitment to the defense of the Philippines. And it comes on the heels of large-scale joint military exercises amid growing regional tension with China. Since 1951, the Philippines and the U.S. have shared a mutual defense treaty, which obliges the U.S. to help defend the Asian nation.
You hear about that a lot on the ground here. They call it the MDT. It means that if the Philippines is attacked, the U.S. is expected to defend it. And if the U.S. is attacked, the Philippines is expected to come to the U.S.'s defense.
The Philippines is Washington's oldest treaty ally in Asia, and it's in a strategically important location for the U.S. Its northernmost islands lie close to Taiwan, and its west coast borders the South China Sea, a waterway through which trillions of dollars in trade pass each year. Even though Washington and Manila have been long-standing security partners, the relationship has had its highs and lows.
I kiss the flag of the Republic of the Philippines.
Marcos's predecessor, Rodrigo Duterte, who served as president from 2016 to 2022, expressed distrust of Washington and threatened to unravel the key U.S. relationship.
This will be the last maneuver, war games between the United States and the Philippines military. Then, in the fullness of God's time, I am president for 6 years. No more. I want to be a friend to China.
During Duterte's tenure, he drew the Philippines closer to Beijing. He visited China early in his term, hosted Xi Jinping in the Philippines, and boasted of a rapport with the Chinese president.
Towards the end of his administration, he seemed to realize that the people of the Philippines did not support that because China was not backing down from things that the Philippines see as a threat to their sovereignty.
The Philippines' security establishment ultimately persuaded him to soften his stance toward the U.S., which supports Manila's territorial claims in the South China Sea. Since Marcos took office in June last year, he's increased cooperation with the U.S. Philippine military officials say Marcos removed curbs on their interaction with the U.S. military that were imposed by Duterte. The White House meeting comes days after the two countries wrapped up military exercises called Balakatan, which included live-fire drills and more than 17,500 troops.
These exercises happen every year, but this was by far the biggest Balakatan ever. It was a huge show of force.
For the first time, the exercises included a focus on the defense of the northern Philippines and preparations for conflict if China tries to take Taiwan by force. These drills followed Chinese military exercises in the region that the state broadcaster said were intended to practice establishing an aerial blockade of Taiwan, which Beijing claims as part of China.
这是对台独分裂势力与外部势力勾连挑衅的严重警告，是捍卫国家主权和领土完整的必要行动。
In an effort to counter China's influence, the U.S. reached an agreement with the Philippines in February that nearly doubled the number of sites that the U.S. military can use in the country.
That's just part of our efforts to modernize our alliance. And these efforts are especially important as the People's Republic of China continues to advance its illegitimate claims in the West Philippine Sea.
The deal falls under the country's Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, which dates back to 2014 and allows the U.S. to build facilities at agreed-upon Philippine bases. The U.S. used some of those facilities in the drills this year.
Not everyone is in favor of stronger ties with the U.S. Some people in the Philippines are worried that the Philippines is putting itself in the middle of a battle between two superpowers.
China is one of the Philippines' largest trading partners, further complicating the picture and forcing the Philippine leader to walk a fine line between the two countries. One item of business between the leaders at the White House could be whether Manila will be purchasing HIMARS weapon systems as part of an upgrade of its military after Marcos watched demonstrations during the Balakatan exercises. The U.S. Air Force said on Tuesday it would revive joint jet fighter training exercises with the Philippines for the first time since 1990, a further sign of deepening military ties.
I actually asked Philippine officials and U.S. officials how they would describe the relationship status, and they seem to be very eager to expand on some of the progress that has been made in the past few months.